a Naxal attack in Chhattisgarh. Here is the story, incredible story of what happened in Jagdalpur with squadron leader Tarun Kumar Chaudhari.
The sky is no limit for this Air Force pilot. And on November 8, 2008, squadron leader TK Chaudhary proved that he is a man of limitless courage.
We were detailed to undertake this task for the state government of Chhattisgarh, which involved the election duties in which we had to take police personnel, drop them at the specified helipads. Target was to finish all the collection of voting machines by 4 o'clock. However, the helicopter got unserviceable. We had got information of Naxalite attack on 3 of the helipads. We picked up the voting machines with the casualty, then the second and then the last helipad at which the incident occurred. After taking the 2 casualties, while taking off, my helicopter came under extensive fire from the ground by Naxalites. I took the decision of flying for 1 hour in dark night and land back at Jagdalpur.
Awarded the Shaurya Chakra for his act of valor, squadron leader TK Chaudhary wears the spirit of an air warrior on his sleeve.
Well, in my view, it was a very tough mission to be in a hostile area with the anti-national elements surrounded, and sometime late in the evening. And you have the situation of this helicopter being shot upon with a lot of damage to the main rotor, to the fuel tank and to the tail rotor. And unfortunately, one of our boys died in that helicopter because of this firing. So under these adverse circumstances, this boy has done a wonderful job. He is not panicked. He's managed to, he could have actually put the aircraft down there and exposed all the others to the murderous fire. But he elected to fly this crippled helicopter back to base and thereby saving all these lives. So we all think it's a very extraordinary feat which is performed under some very stressful conditions.
May I just say this? Squadron leader Tarun Kumar Chaudhary, first of all, a round of applause to you. And I want to say this, that when journalists like us and when to all our viewers we hear that there has been a peaceful and successful election and we are proud of being the world's greatest democracy, sometimes in the most hostile of conditions, it is men like you who have made it possible. You were carrying electronic voting machines and election commission officials. So thank you for safeguarding, first of all, our democracy. Thank you so much indeed. This happened in November 2008. Tell me, what happened in that situation? It's a completely unexpected attack. In that situation, how did it all happen?
I have been facing these kind of situations since 2004. I have been going with my previous unit, the Desert Hawks. I had been going there and I have had these kind of situations before, but however was lucky enough never to get hit directly by the Naxalite attacks. So on the eventful day when this happened, the helicopter was unserviceable and we were told to collect the voting machines. The aircraft was down. We gave a call to Jagdalpur. They sent us the helicopter with the tradesman. He rectified it. It was 4 o'clock in the evening and 5:15 is the sunset. So we are supposed to land back from hill flying by 1 hour before sunset and in normal circumstances. So there was a call at that time by the SP that there have been casualties and 2 helipads and you have to pick up these casualties. So that was the time when we regrouped as a crew. My co-pilot late Flight Lieutenant Tomar, my flight engineer late Sergeant Mustafa Ali, he is also Shaurya Chakra, and my flight gunner Sergeant Raut. And we are highly trained in our training institutions, and we have that thing in the crew resource management, because at any stage anyone says no sir, then it's no sir. So as a typical briefing, it took just 2 minutes that we will be going here flying low level and we will be picking up, and in the end I laughed and said, yaar goli lag sakti hai. So my flight engineer at that time said, sir marna hai to marenge, marne se pehle nahi marenge. We will. That was the thing in him as a flight engineer, that he said, because he is the chap who sits between the captain and the co-pilot. He is a chap who flies without controls. He sees everything ahead. He sees the entire action in front of him, but he just advises me and takes care of the engines and the aircraft in the pure technical manner. So when we took off for the helipad, it was about like getting dark or so. So that was the time we were flying. We went to the first helipad, picked up the casualties, came to the second helipad, picked up the voting machines. At the third helipad, which was actually not a helipad, it was just a clearing on ground, we somehow managed to put down the aircraft. So what I would like to inform is in the background of it, the helipad was actually sanitized when we got the information that there is no Naxalite attack on it. But by the time we took off and we were en route, that is the time when there was a big ambush. There were around 50 people on the helipad, and there must have been more than 2,000 Naxalites who had attacked it. They were sitting on top of the trees and they were just going on firing. So that was the time when I landed on the helipad. I picked up the casualty voting machines, and when I was about to take off, I said to my flight engineer, see, because this is one thing which we will realize that while being in a situation, we have to be technically sound also, because we are flying a machine. And that was the time when I said, when my flight gunner said, okay, sir, I think so we might be overloaded. So I said, okay, I'll pick up the aircraft and we'll see, because then we have no option, because if it's overloaded, we'll have to drop the load. So the moment we were taking off, the helipad has trees around it, a height of around say 20 meters. So the moment I crossed the first tree line is the time a flight engineer said, sir, I think so, I'll just check the fuel. And the next second he turns his head to check the fuel, and there's a blast in the cockpit. So the next thing I see is that the entire canopy is strewn with blood and all facial features, and a part of this entire flesh has come on me. And in a fraction I find his head is not there, it's missing. And he fell down on the controls, the aircraft came almost on the trees. So that time the gunner started telling me, sir, goliyan chal rahi hai, goliyan. That was the first time I actually realized that when we do range firing and we do target practice fire, we sit very comfortable in fire bullets. But as per statistics, that was the time it clicked to me that the bullet is supersonic. First you get the hit, then you hear the sound. So that was the time when I realized, okay, I was like one sound coming of the metal being pierced in the helicopter, and then the burst of the sound coming. So the gunner kept telling me from behind, ki, sir, Naxalites are sitting on the treetop and they are firing on us. The decision was taken on ground that we will continue and we will go ahead and we will clear the area. This was one point of time when my co-pilot told me, ki, sir, should we go to the next helipad, which is 8 minutes? Because that time I had that thing that I have been badly hit. I really didn't know what was wrong. So I said, no boss, we will continue, we will go to Jagdalpur. He said, sir, we are getting dark. So I took the decision and I climbed up. So the gunner said, sir, I can see open patches. So that is the time I could have actually landed the aircraft, because I knew my systems are working as of now, mild vibrations, and I can land. I as a waiter, as a soldier, will immediately evacuate. But what about these 15 guys?
Yep.
With a casualty in the middle of jungle,
Yep.
and the Naxalites will see it coming down and they will come after us. So that is the time I went to I flew by dark night, and at that time closing to Jagdalpur, then came the teamwork part, because at that time I was so exhausted and I was so fatigued because there was blood and the systems, half of the systems had actually failed, and I didn't have a flight engineer, because without a flight engineer you would realize that in this kind of aircraft you can't reach all your switches. So this was the time my co-pilot said, sir, I'll take on controls, I loosen my straps so that in case there is some system failure I can reach to the switches. I said, okay, we'll land next to a road. And on ground, Wing Commander Yadav, he was the detachment commander for Chetaks. I flicked my landing light. He said, I can see your landing light. Come over the ALG, you will find one Chetak helicopter with the anti-call light flashing. So I came over a dark patch of land, I found that, and he said, okay, Chow, you can see there are 4 jeeps on a ALG. Be careful for tall trees next to the approach, because no one has done a conventional landing there. So I told my co-pilot, okay, we'll go for landing this time. So when we came down for landing, before touching the ground, he cautioned me, sir, agar tire phata hai, then we will topple. Because there are issues that I cannot, because in this time I have to keep my thing on. So the moment I landed on ground, there was a chaos on ground. Everybody was making action to switch off the aircraft. So I realized something is wrong, but it can't be this wrong. So I switched off the aircraft. The moment I came out, the first question Wing Commander Yadav asked me, kuch ummeed hai? Maine kaha, sir, he doesn't have a head. So he got the answer. And when I came out of the aircraft, I saw there were more than 40 bullet hits. My fuel tank was burst. Fuel was almost at the end of it. My 2 rotor blades were broken. My electrical boxes were gone. My tail was badly battered. My engine had taken bullet hits. I, in fact, thank the Russians for making such a robust machine. The bullets fell down next to the engine. And around 60 grazings around the helicopter, and the machine flew well. And at the end of it, my co-pilot came and I said, boss, बाकी safety का गोली आई कहाँ से? That was the time we realized the first bullet came under the co-pilot seat, ricocheted from his seat and then took the engineer from the head and took away. So that was the end of it.
What a story. And when sometimes we hear it only in the postscript. When we hear it from you, it's so riveting. Round of applause for squad leader Tarun Chaudhari. Incredible, isn't it? Maruf.